At this point right now, you're probably either saying, who is this guy? What in the world is he doing? And why is this barn leaning so much? Or you're saying, oh yeah, I forgot. I subscribed to that Money Pit channel like a year and a half ago and forgot all about it. Well, that's why I'm here. Let's talk about that. Like I said, a year and a half ago, I did a video talking about my house that my wife and I bought that was originally built in 1830. And I talked about all of the projects and all of the things that I was going to do to that. And then the channel disappeared. It disappeared because I'm not going to document my daily life. That's not interesting enough. And I was not doing any projects around the house because, well, it just wasn't the best year. It was kind of a down year for our business, and all of the extra money that we had went into things that had to be done, like getting 2 of the air conditioning systems in this house fixed. It's not a huge house, but because it's been added onto so many times, a new air conditioning and heating system was installed in each section of the house. So there's 3 systems, and 2 of them broke this year. We had a major plumbing leak in the house that the crawl space of our house is only about that big, so my big butt isn't getting up there or getting in there and crawling halfway through the entire house to fix a leak. Had to bring in a plumber for that. There's been a whole lot of things that have happened that all of the extra funds that would be going towards renovation projects all went to those. But things are looking up this year. Things are looking better. And I had an epiphany about all this stuff. I want to talk to you about that right now, and then show you the project that I'm working on here. I'm not just cleaning things up. This is a big project that's happening here, and it's time to spill the beans on all of it. I've never been an outdoor YouTuber, and I realize the wind is an issue. Hopefully it's not that bad. I've got a really good microphone, so hopefully it hangs in there and it's not too distracting. So listen, the big epiphany that I had just a couple of weeks ago is taking a completely different approach to renovating this property than what I originally thought I was going to do. My original intent was, and the way I've always been, if I'm going to do a job, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm not going to pinch pennies. I'm going to do it exactly the way it needs to be done. This is why a lot of the projects got put on hold, because so many of the projects are, you know, that's 10,000 there. I want to put a new metal roof on the whole house. That's 60 grand right there. I'd like to re-side the whole house. That's going to be at least 40 grand. All these things are outrageous. The kitchen, good Lord, the kitchen needs probably a $40,000 renovation. All of these things are going to be extremely expensive. And some of those things still have to be done, but not all of the projects are going to be super expensive like that. And this is a perfect example of one of those things. Now, this barn predates 1900. I don't know exactly when this barn was built. I would imagine it was built when the property was founded in 1830, but I don't know that for certain. I do know it predates 1901 because I have this picture right here in a book that I bought that's about the history of the town that I live in, and there it is, being used as a horse barn. So this thing has been around for a minimum of 125 years. It's a special building. It needs a lot of love, but it is a very special building. This is the building that we run our business out of. If you're familiar with us from our other channel, we run KG Tropicals or keepfishkeeping.com out of this barn. So it's an integral part to this property, and it's one of those buildings, like all the buildings on this property, that needs a lot of work. But a perfect example of this new philosophy that I have, because you're probably wondering, why in the world would I work on the old barn when I've got a house from 1830 that I should be working on? Well, the house is where all of the expensive projects are. This is where I can start to work on projects under this new philosophy that I have. And this new philosophy is actually very simple. Why tear something down and rebuild it all brand new when you can work with what you have already? And this barn is a great example of that, starting with the lean-to. There's a lot of things wrong with this barn. The first thing is the roof is terrible all the way around. Got to address that at some point. It's fine, but there's a couple of minor leaks. Got to put plastic totes up in the attic to catch the leaks and make sure we dump them out every couple of months. There's also the fact that this entire building was covered, not the entire building, but the front and the back was covered in that ugly red, it's not red, it's painted red, that ugly metal siding, vertical. It looks terrible. Okay, it doesn't look terrible, but what's underneath it is the original wood-clad siding. And so take that metal off and restore what's there. That's kind of my point. Now, I was never intending to rip all the siding off of the barn and replace all of that siding, but this is a great example of what I'm talking about, working with what's there. What somebody did back in the day, I don't know when it was instead of fixing the siding that's already on the building, they covered it up with that ugly metal siding. So what I'm saying is working in reverse. Pull that metal off and fix the wood siding that's already there. Problem is with that, I don't know what's underneath there. I don't know what it looks like. I can kind of peek through the cracks and see what's going on, but I won't truly know what's underneath that metal until I take it off. But that's a project for another day. This project here is a great example of what I'm talking about, well, along with everything else on this barn. These lean-tos on both sides of this building are a disaster. They're 75 feet long. They're about 12 feet wide, and both of them are sinking. Obviously, you can only see one right now, but it's completely sinking, probably 16 to 20 inches. I mean, it's
I'm
out.
not sure I understand.
Oh, I wasn't asking you, but thank you for your help. Probably 16 to 18 inches. This thing is sagging. There's a good reason for that. I live in the coastal plains in North Carolina. This is all sand. My entire property is sand. It's almost like living on the beach, but you can't see water. And so when they set these posts in the ground 125 years ago, they probably did nothing to support that as a footer. They probably just dug a hole, put the post in there, filled the hole in with dirt or sand, and then moved on. Well, after 125 years, those have sagged really bad. I think maybe the front post and the back post, they did some type of a footing because those haven't sagged at all. It's only the ones that are in the middle. What I was originally gonna do was tear those out completely. Just tear the whole lean-to down and then start again. Build it right back up again with 6x6 pressure treated and, you know, build it like a Fort Knox type structure. And then it just hit me. That'd be the worst thing I could ever do because these posts are round, probably 10-inch diameter tree stumps, basically, that were probably collected from this property somewhere. Our property was originally 1,100 acres, this farm. I shouldn't say our property. This farm was 1,100 acres. And then it was, you know, sold off. I actually know the guy that bought it. He lives across the street from me. And then they kept this 5-acre, almost 5-acre little spot with all of the outbuildings, which would be the central hub of the original farm. They sold that off to a bunch of different people and then eventually to me. And so there was 1,100 acres here. I'm sure they got the trees, cut them down, and took those pieces and made these posts. I could be wrong. I don't think I'll ever know, but I'm gonna go with the assumption that that's how it happened. So how dare I even consider ripping those out and replacing them with 6x6 pressure treated pine? Are you kidding me? That's the worst idea I could have ever had. So what I'm gonna do is very different than what I originally planned. I'm gonna salvage what's here. I'm gonna restore what's here and only replace what absolutely must be replaced. Obviously, the metal roof being one of those things. Let me take you for a walk over there and show you. I don't even know how this happened. Your guess is as good as mine how this metal roof got bent up like this. I mean, somebody running over it with a front end loader or something? Like, I don't know why this happened. We do get a lot of wind through here. Can you hear it? I mean, it's a wide open area that we live in. We're surrounded by, this is 75 acres of farmland around me right here, immediately right here. And there's a lot of wind. So I would imagine when the wind picks it up, it just chews it up after a while. We just had a storm recently. This piece blew down. So it's constantly, you can see it flapping right now. It's constantly exposed to the wind. And so I would imagine that's where most of the damage came from. There's no way that I can straighten all this out. It's bent up all the way up. Seriously, it's like there's been wrestling matches on here or something. It's bent from top to bottom. So this metal roof, it's gone. There's no restoring that. But there's other stuff happening here that is restorable. And that's what I'm going to work with. I do have to mention, I have a very good helper with me today. He's making sure that everything goes well. He's keeping an eye on things, making sure I'm following safety protocols and all that kind of stuff. But no, in all seriousness, these posts, I was going to tear out and throw away. Isn't that ridiculous? That just doesn't make any sense. Instead, here's my thoughts. This is the vision that I have in my head. This is what I'm going to try to do, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to raise this beam. This is a 6x6. I haven't pulled a tape measure out. It might even be an 8x8. I don't know what it is. But it's like a 6x6. It's not an actual beam. It's not like it's a laminated beam or anything like that. It's just a 6x6. And you can see the condition of that. This beam, the whole lean-to has sagged so much that this beam has become permanently bent. And it's not the right type of wood to use for a beam anyway. So this beam has to be replaced. There's no getting around that. But the posts don't. So I've come up with a strategy. I'm working by myself here. I don't have anybody helping me with it. My wife will certainly come out and help me with little things if I need her to, but she ain't gonna help me with a beam. So I had to come up with a strategy of how I can do this myself. And here's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start off, and this is what we're gonna experiment with today. I have a jack. I think it's a 40-ton jack or something like that. I'm gonna use that to lift all of these areas. And it's kind of convenient. I've got like 12 by 12 railroad ties down on the ground. So I'm just going to use that to set the wood on, and then put my jack up here on the top, jack this up, use blocks to provide something for the beam to rest on until I get it up really, really close to level. And I'm going to do that all the way down. That's just, again, to bring everything up for a lot of reasons. One, it's hard to work in here because I'm bent down just a little bit. I got a really bad back, so I'll be able to tolerate that for about 20 minutes. So lifting it all up will absolutely help with that. I'm going to get it lifted up, and then once the whole thing is lifted and close to being level, then I'm going to go through. I will support, certain widths. So I'll support it with this structure here so that it's completely independent, and I can take these beams out and replace them with, probably 2x6s, laminated 3 2x6s. And that's going to have to be all the way down, the entire thing. I wish I could use the lumber that's already here, and I got lumber all over this property laying around. It's in the attic of the barn. It's all over. And I can piece things together. Example, some of these boards here have rotted out and they're completely missing. I can most likely find pieces of wood that I can use to replace those if need be. I mean, they don't have to be there to support the metal roof, but if I can find some to replace them, I will. I'll deal with that once I take the metal roof off. Little things like that I can use to replace what's missing. I can find pieces of wood laying around this property to do that. And then, of course, sorry to make you dizzy here, these posts, when I have everything lifted and I'm going to start to permanently fix this, not only will I put in the new beam, but I'll also remove these posts, dig it out, put some concrete down there, raise everything up so that I can remove those temporary blocks that I put in, and then put the new beam in there, set it all in place, and we're good to go. This is going to be a long process. So I might be retired. I know I already look way different than I did when I did the video introducing you to all this. Beard's gray, and you know, I know it might be way worse. I might be retired and in a wheelchair by the time this gets done, but I'm starting it today. Gonna take you along with me. I'm doing it by myself, so it's gonna take a while, but I'm excited to get it started. Just make progress. That's what I'm trying to do here. Just make some progress. We'll see how it goes. So what I'm gonna start with, I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to start with raising this section of the beam right here, get it up off the ground or off the post, put some blocks in there, and just start working my way down. This is something that might go really fast, or it might take me 3.5 years to get all these temporary blocks put in. Now, I do want to address one thing. People with common sense might say, John, this metal roof's pretty heavy. Why wouldn't you get that out of the way before doing all of this? Well, first of all, my jack can handle it. I'm not lifting this stuff. And not only that, this is going to be something I'm working on in my spare time, working on it on the weekends. And, you know, not now in the wintertime. I'm out here in a t-shirt, but it's January. And I can't come out here and work on it in the evenings because it's dark. I ain't gonna put lights on, no. So this is probably gonna be something that takes me till the summer to get completely done. And I just don't want everything exposed. I'm gonna leave the roof on there so that it at least protects it a little bit from the elements, since it's gonna take me so long. If I had, you know, 12 people out here working on this with me and I was gonna get it done in a weekend, then I'd probably take the roof off first. But for doing this by myself and for it being something that's going to take me a while, I'm just going to leave the roof on there. That way, if I do come out here in the rain and work on it, I'm not going to get rained on the whole time while I'm doing it. I think I'm rambling at this point because I'm nervous about trying this thing with the jack. Let's stop messing around. Let's just do it. Please, cross your fingers. If you're a religious person, say a prayer for me, because I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this without sneezing. Can you notice a difference at all? Lisa came out here, my wife. If you're not familiar with me from my other channel, my wife came out here and she was like, oh my God, it already looks different. It definitely does, and it should, because, boy, this was almost exactly what I expected. I expected it was going to be this much. Still have my tape measure here. This is kind of crazy. This one post I had to lift up 10.5 inches. This one down here, whoops, that's not even all the way. 12 inches. These are just blocks screwed together that are there temporarily. I don't know if you noticed two things during the whole segment there of working on this. There was a huge crash, and I don't know what it was. I think I know what it was, but it scared the crap out of me. I don't know if I'm even going to show it because it might be embarrassing. I pooped my pants a little bit, but it was scary. I think I know what caused it, because what we have here, this looks super sketchy, and it is super sketchy, but there's a joint in the two 6x6s, and there's an obvious hole in the roof up here. This is all rotted out. And so when I was raising these up, it popped, and I think that's what caused it. But it's been a little bit windy today. It's possible that it was just the loose panels up there, the metal roof panels, just moving in the wind. They do it all the time. I don't know, it definitely scared me a little bit. But we have another one of those joints down here in the middle of the span. A little bit scary. But what I have realized, there's absolutely no doubt, this beam from end to end is going to have to be replaced 75 feet. There's no other option. And I've been planning that the whole time, so it's not a big deal. That is going to be kind of the major expense of getting this done, along with the metal roof. I mean, that metal roof is going to cost in the neighborhood of about $800. And I'm hoping that this beam, which is going to be several $100s, because I got to buy a bunch of, I don't even know what I'm going to use yet, but the beam, the concrete, and the metal roof is going to be the primary expenses that we have here. But that's way less than what I was originally going to do, which again was tear this whole thing down and start from scratch. So I'm going to end this video here, or as far as what I'm doing today, I'm going to finish up with it. But let me tell you what's going to be happening next. When is it going to happen? I don't know. Hopefully soon. But, you know, it depends. It depends on how many days my back hurts after doing what I've done here today. Even though the jack, I think I might have described it as a 40-ton jack. It's because it says on there 40,000 pounds. It's a 20-ton jack. The jack is the one that did all the lifting, but it's still up and down and all of that. I don't know if you noticed, when I first started lifting this, the post came right up with it because the post was nailed to the beam. That was a surprise, but it was actually a welcome surprise, because that means when I go to do what's next, the posts are going to come out real easy. So when I have this thing pretty much level and secure, and I'm not worried about it falling down, I'm going to build some kind of a system to support where each beam is, or not each beam, but each post. So like for this section here, I'll build something that I can support the roof from post to post, and then build, not build, but remove the beam that's here, replace the beam, and then reset the posts. I think I am still going to do this, the end one here. I didn't realize this until today. It's very rotted down on the bottom there. So I think I am going to have to replace that. I'm not going to be able to find something long enough here to do it, something laying around on the property. And this one is a, was that on camera? My cat trying to jump up into the bed? This is a 6x6, so I'm not thinking that it is something that, you know, they cut down a tree and made it out of there. So I don't really have an issue replacing that, a moral issue replacing that. So anyway, structure to support the roof, reset the posts in, concrete, actually pour a footer down in there, have them be supported. Even a footer can sink in this sand, but at least, maybe I'll get it to last a little more than 125 years. And then replace this post, reset that post, replace the beam, and then do it again and again and again and again, all the way down to the other end. All of these posts, I'm trying not to sneeze here, I'm sorry. It's really driving me crazy. There's been a lot of sawdust and a lot of everything, sand, everything flying around. I think that the end posts might be in concrete now. I haven't lifted it up to see, but I think they are, which is why the center's sagging and the ends aren't. So that might be a little chore to get it out, but I think I'm going to set all of them in concrete. And the one down there is really, really off and low. So that's the next thing in this. And I guess once all of that is done and everything is rock solid and secure, hopefully at that point I'll have the money to get the roof and replace the roof. And then this thing will look good. That's pretty much it. I don't really know what else to say about it. This has been a productive day. I feel really good about what I accomplished. Hopefully it doesn't fall down. I don't think it will. I mean, it's sitting in here really solid. Got some nice big thick blocks. Those blocks, I said I'm going to find stuff around the property to work with. That was an old fence post from a fence. It's a long story. Took this one post out, didn't throw it away, cut it up and made those blocks out of it. See, I'm doing this for as little money as possible. At the end of this whole project, I will tell you how much the whole thing has cost. But yeah, this is it so far. Doesn't look a whole lot different, but if you were really paying attention, you can see, yeah, this has been big progress. I've enjoyed it. It's finally nice to be able to get out here and do some work on this daggone thing. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to replace the roof. I mean, the roof is the thing that looks really bad. Obviously, the fascia is gonna have to be replaced too. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that part because the roof is the thing that's the real eyesore. But we got to get it straight first. And it's almost there. Get it straight, get it structurally sound. And then I'll go buy some tin and start putting that up there. Anyway, this has been fun. Thank you so much. Subscribe if you want to follow along with this. I want to show you, if you have come over here from the KG Tropicals channel, you know this is why I work off of a script on the KG Tropicals channel. Because if I don't, I just never stop talking. But I want to show you, there's another one over here, and it has the exact same problem. In fact, an argument can be made, this one's worse, way worse. But that one faces the street, so that one's the priority. So get that one done. This one's kind of hidden. Who knows if I'll ever do it. I will, but who knows. I think when I'm done with this one, I ain't gonna be in a hurry to start up on another one, but it is what it is. I want to show you one last thing. You see what I'm saying? You see what I was talking about? You can see the siding back here behind this trash. So that's another project in the restoration of this 120-something-year-old barn by a guy that doesn't know anything about restoring a 125-year-old barn. But I'm having fun doing it. Thank you for following along, and I'll see you as soon as I recover and we start this up again.